Here at the studios of KICK, we have 63 degrees and time to pivot, talk about 1 Million Cups a little bit here. 1 Million Cups is a phenomenal organization that meets here in Springfield. They have branches all over the country, and Springfield is one of the biggest, consistently has the biggest turnouts. So we're really proud of that. They meet at the Art Museum at National and Bennett every Wednesday morning. 8:30 to 9 is free coffee. Folks just gather, mingle, talk, catch up, what's going on. And then 9 to 10, two companies present, share their story, where they're at in the process. If they have presented before and come back, it's called a refill. So it's really cool. And then after the business presents, there's question and answer, give and take from the audience, and input given. And it's a really productive time every Wednesday morning at the Art Museum here in Springfield. We have one of the presenters here. He's presented at 1 Million Cups here in Springfield, getting ready to do a tour around the country. Going to go to Texas, going to go to Jefferson City, going to be in, say, Sedalia?
Sedalia by September, and then next week we'll be on the radio again in Arkansas.
Well, this, I mean, you know, I don't know who he's going to be on the radio with there in Arkansas. I'm glad you started here. We're glad to have you.
I appreciate it.
Richard Aviles, we get the pronunciation correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, with Aviles Translation. You can find them online at avilestranslations.com. So let's start with 1 Million Cups. What's it like to present? This is not a traditional business here that you have, at least not that I'm aware of.
You're like the 5th or 10th person that's telling me that.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I'm still wondering, like, what do you mean by that?
Is that offensive?
No, it's not offensive, not at all. Trust me, if you offend me, don't know. I'm just wondering, like, when you say not traditional, what do you mean by that?
Well, okay, radio, when our salespeople go out and ask a business to buy advertising, we're selling air.
Correct.
There's nothing tangible that you can put in your hands and have to hold, use, take advantage of. It's air.
Correct.
So when you go out and offer a translation service, that's a service for sure, but how do you price that? How do we price air? How do you price translating for somebody, helping them communicate?
So the biggest thing that we've come to find is that there's a big need, first of all. There's a big need for it in Springfield. I specialize in what's legal translations pretty much. So I have a lot of high-end cases of, like, domestic violence, a lot of dark stuff that I'm going to get into.
Yeah, sure.
I work with Homeland Security, I work with various federal agencies. So, like, for me, it sells itself because the specialty that I concentrate in is pretty much like it's on a need basis. I've been doing this since I was young. I've been interpreting since I was very young, like 16. I've been getting paid for it.
Wow.
Yeah, because I went to college. I went to high school and middle school and elementary in Puerto Rico. So I learned English when I was around 5 because my father was always like, "You gotta learn English. You gotta learn English."
Yeah.
And then by the age of 16, I was an FPLA member, and I was able to, interpret and go to Disney for free. And the best way that we've been able to market ourselves is pretty much find who needs it and set up what I consider would be a fair price, which some people think it's too cheap, but I think that as of right now, it's a very fair price. So pretty much we always look at businesses and what organizations might need our services, and then we just say a friendly hi. How you doing? How's it going? Hola, ¿cómo estás? How are you? God bless you. And then we just wait. You got to be very patient in this game.
Sure. So the company is how old? Aviles Translations.
September 14 of 2017, we got the LLC and everything that Lucas Walker Business Consulting did. But that's probably how old the company is. It's a baby company. It's very baby.
So, well, you've got a year under your belt, almost. So, we're getting close.
Yeah.
So you walk into 1 Million Cups. Did you approach them or did they approach you? Or a little both?
I approached them because Lucas had told me to go there because I'm part of the Rotary. I'm part of the Sunshine Club Rotary.
Yes, sir.
And Lucas wants to join the Rotary, and he was like, "Hey, you should come here. It's free coffee." So I was like, "I love coffee." So yeah, let's go ahead and go over there and steal it. It's right next to my house. So Lucas was like, "Hey, you should apply to present." I'm like, "No, nobody wants to know about my business. Nobody cares." He's like, "No, you should definitely present." So I applied, and then like 2 weeks later, they're like, "Hey, we have a slot in March. You want to come over?" I'm like, Yeah, sure, why not? So. that's
Okay,
how
so
that's
walk us through that presentation. What kind of give and take, what kind of feedback did you get when you presented?
You know, it wasn't as much feedback, I would say. It was more like people were extremely interested in what we're doing, and they thought that we were like every other language or translation or interpreting firm, where it's like, oh, you're just gonna have a bunch of languages and you just call and you press 5 or whatever to come in, and it's like, no, like we specialize in Spanish. Like we have our intern here, Amanda. Amanda is studying at MSU. Say hi, Amanda.
Yeah, step up here, man. I wasn't trying to ignore you.
No, you're good.
Pull that a little bit closer to you if you would. How are you?
I'm good.
So Amanda's actually going through MSU right now for like education, you know, in Spanish and whatnot. So Amanda's probably going to be after her internship's on with us, she's probably going to start doing like some educational stuff. But she also wants to learn some legal and some other stuff because it's fun. We get to do some very rewarding work that Amanda has been able to see so far. We have another translator, that his name is Victor Batista, and he specializes in the banking, the mortgage, realty stuff, and I'm learning from him, as well as he's learning some of the legal stuff from me because he's never dealt with like the legal stuff, you know. So it's really like we want to concentrate on Spanish because like I also specialize in like the lingo because I've been all over the world and I've had cases where I've had to go to court with, you know, people from Nicaragua, Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico, Spain, and other countries where I've had to interpret for them, and I've learned the lingo over the years and kind of the slang. Because when you're dealing with colorful human beings, you tend to learn some words that you never knew what they would mean.
Sure.
So it's important to understand that it's like English. You know, if we're in one side of the United States and you say, give me the car, you don't know if they're talking about a car or if they're talking about a credit card. So it's the same in Spanish. Depending on where you're at, you know, it can mean something completely different.
Sure.
So
Amazing. We're visiting with Richard Aviles, Aviles Translations.com. LLC is also in the business name. So you start this business and you've got a great consultant that you're working with, but growing a business is hard. And we were talking off the air, you have to be patient. There are so many things to keep an eye on. What's the biggest lesson you've learned so far in growing a business?
we haven't been in business that long, so the biggest thing that I've come to learn is obviously patience. I've learned that through other life experiences, but I think the biggest thing is that don't ever be afraid to start again. And that's the biggest thing that I can tell people. It's like a lot of people, once they make a name for themselves, they're too proud to like walk up to a new client that has a huge amount of potential and just be like, hey, you know, like I'll do this for a little bit cheaper. I'll show you what we can do, even though we're all over. And people are always too proud to like start over, so to speak. And I think if you could, and that's a lesson I learned in the military, to be honest with you, was don't ever be scared to start again. You know, and that's a lesson I learned in jiu-jitsu. You know, you get injured, you gain a little bit of weight, and you gotta start all over. You know, in the military, you get injured, you gotta work out again. So it's the same in business, is if you take a fall because, you know, it's been a slow month, it's been a slow year, whatever the case may be, just take your time, take a deep breath, be patient, and start again. You know.
How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
25. 25. No?
I just turned 31.
No.
Last week. Yes, sir.
Get out of
I
here.
just turned 31 last week.
Unbelievable.
May 30.
AvilesTranslations.com. Check it out. Quick break. We'll be right back. So during this time, while this commercial break's going on, I ask you a question I probably should have asked during this break here. Break's less than 2 parts, so the camera's still rolling.
Yeah,
they're still here as talk. Biggest lesson you learned is don't be afraid to start over.
Don't be afraid to start over. Don't be afraid at all.
What do you think 5 years from now? What do you think this business will look like?
I don't know, to be honest with you. Because I'm not thinking 5 years from now. I'm thinking today, I'm thinking a month from now, 6 months, a year, 3 years. That can change any day, you know. I'll give you an example. Right now, we're doing some DVDs for BJJ Deals a friend of mine, Michael Zenga, which has not been as fun as I thought it would be, because we're having to learn the jiu-jitsu lingo and translate them in Spanish.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, I can't tell a person like, okay, we're gonna grab the arm and do an underhook and figure four this. Because in Spanish, it's something totally different. So I'm having to basically learn the whole lingo of jiu-jitsu, which I do and love, and combine that with another thing that I love, and try to create another language pretty much. So that's why. That's why pretty much you shouldn't be afraid of it.
So I don't know if this term will mean anything to you, but you have a huge motor, okay? Your engine, your internal engine, you run hot and fast, okay? How do you do that? How do you sustain that? Because you're not a one-man operation, but to some extent you are. How do you work literally 24, almost 7?
You want the medical explanation? You want my explanation?
No, I want, there's probably a word like passion that goes along.
I love what I do.
Yeah.
I love what I do, and I think that I have a bachelor's in criminal justice, and I have like 4 minors,
Okay.
and then I'm like a semester away from a couple classes away from my master's in criminal profiling.
Okay.
But to me, it's like if you don't wake up. Let me put it to you in terms, I'm going to quote somebody. What's the name of that guy, Lucas? Gary, what is it?
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Okay.
Yeah.
The guy with motivational, okay.
Gary V.
I agree with something that he says. I hate the weekends. I hate the weekends. Because why are we waking up to be like, oh my God, it's the weekend, yes, I can party and do whatever. Like, so what you're telling me is that throughout the week you hate what you do. So if you hate what you do, why don't you try to fix that, and then you wake up and you love what you do? Because on the weekends we don't get that much business. On the weekends I get to like, we have a day where I basically come in and I study, because it's continuous education. But the rest of the time it's like, I see everybody, some of my friends like, oh my God, it's the weekend, I get to relax and whatnot. I'm like, I don't do that, man. I wake up and I'm ready to go. I wake up and I'm like, all right, what are we gonna do today? Last week, what is it that we had? We had to go to court at the last minute. Yep. And it was like a really cool hour where we were at Christian County, and she got to see, the domestic violence case and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then the week before that, we had an FST with child services that we had to do that, was really interesting. Sometimes I get phone calls like, hey, we need you to interpret this for this person, or hey, we're on a traffic stop, and can you tell this person this? So to me, it's like, I love what I do because I'm breaking a communication barrier.
That's phenomenal.
So that's how I roll.
We've got one more segment to go, it'll be about 8 minutes. What else would you like our listeners to know? What else? I don't want to throw, since you're dealing with high-end stuff, I don't want to ask anything.
You can ask, no, you can absolutely ask. It's just some of the stuff, we deal with a lot of human trafficking, I deal with child pornography cases, I deal with other stuff. Mm-hmm. But you can ask anything, man. And if we can, I know my way around circling around to another question.
All right. 7:52, the KICK Morning Show, presented by Priority Pest Control, 887-9322. Online at PriorityPestControl.net. Whatever's bugging you, they can help you get rid of it, residential or commercial. They would love to help you. We are visiting with Richard Aviles, Aviles Translations.com, doing great work here, not only in Southwest Missouri, but around the U.S. from what I'm gathering.
Oh, yeah.
You get pulled in and around the world, maybe?
We have a client in Spain right now for some major stuff, and we work with some New Mexico stuff down there too. So
it's a phenomenal service that you provide, and I don't want to force you to go anywhere you don't want to go, but you kind of hinted earlier that the work you do is pretty significant in terms of who you're helping. Can you describe that in a little more detail without giving away any cases or situations?
We deal a lot with. I used to be an intern for HSI, and I was with a task force over there where I dealt with a lot of interesting cases. So that's pretty much, I got a lot of experience from that. Mm-hmm. And around town we deal with there's a lot of immigration stuff, there's a lot of human trafficking stuff, there's a lot of other very, very sad cases, and a lot of domestic violence cases involving non-English speakers and whatnot. So that's pretty much what I deal with on a daily basis. And then we also get cases from New Mexico and from other places that they need something translated or they need a video transcription and whatnot, and pretty much I'm the one who deals with that.
The day-to-day, we haven't divulged this yet, but you haven't slept. You haven't been to bed yet.
No, I
Now, the amazing thing is, if he hadn't volunteered that, ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't have known that. There's no bags under the eyes. The eyes don't look to me like somebody who's, you get that look when you haven't slept for a long time. You don't have that. How long has it been since you went to bed?
I mean, I took a nap yesterday in between doing some stuff for like an hour.
Hour nap?
Hour nap, yeah, pretty much an hour. And then I've just been doing some paperwork and billing and following up on leads. Did a little bit of the video stuff where I created a terminal glossaries and stuff like that. And then I did some paperwork for some realtors in Florida. Followed up on some Thumbtack stuff. Thumbtack is a place where we would bid on like jobs and whatnot and then get it or whatever. Which actually we're one review away from being top pro.
Congratulations.
Hopefully this week we'll become top pro.
Congratulations.
And then did some Google stuff too, and then had some client in Italy. They needed a document done for like some religious services that they had in Spanish, and we got that done. And then I just did the video stuff.
So, okay, the video stuff. Talk about that for just a second, because your website shows some of that. It's really cool.
So what video? What video are you talking about? Which ones?
Well, when you go to latest work,
Mm-hmm.
there's you standing on a platform talking.
That's the 1 million cups one.
Okay. There's educating and presenting. So I'm assuming you're doing some videos that are up on YouTube somewhere. Or?
We just uploaded that. If you go to YouTube and you go to Aviles Translations, you'll see some videos where we're talking about like a normal day for an interpreter. You'll also see like some dates and things like the difference between the porqués and whatnot. And then you'll also see some other videos of that we're going to be uploading, pretty much to like help everybody out. Like, here's the thing, Steve, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here's the thing, like, I don't want my agency to be like everybody else, where the interpreters get paid, pennies. I want, because my business is service disabled minority veteran home to the state of Missouri. So what I want to do is I want to create like a haven for like interpreters to come in and pretty much utilize my name, and we can get contracts and everybody makes money. So my biggest thing isn't making money, my biggest thing is making a difference. That's why I fully believe in the rotary. So like right now we have Amanda who's in training with us, and we have Victor that works for us. Say hi, Amanda. You're so quiet. She's so shy. Oh my god. And the biggest thing that I want to do is I want a place where people can come and learn, and they can be leaders. Like a lot of CEOs of companies, they want to like make millions. I'm not interested in making millions. It's nice to have millions, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of responsibility. I think it'd be better if I could create an elite status of people who are good Spanish speakers that create quality work, and that they can grow, and who knows what they'll do later on. So that's what my goal is, and that's why I want like the few people that I have to learn and be good at what they do. And I'm still learning too. I'm still learning right now. I'm learning medical term. I'm doing the jiu-jitsu stuff like I was telling you, the BJJ deals, which that itself is something that I don't know if anyone else has done it, but you have to like really learn the lingo and be able to understand what you're doing. So
okay, we got about a minute and 45 seconds left here.
Mm-hmm.
Other businesses out there starting up, you gave a great piece of advice earlier on don't be afraid to start over. You make a mistake, learn a lesson, pick yourself up and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else that you would, from your vantage point at this point in the beginning of your business, anything else that you would say to those who are just haven't even started yet? They're afraid to jump off that cliff and go.
Man, we didn't have a client for the first 2 months, so what we did is we did pro bono work for Great Circle and from Freedom's Dress. And I think that's what started us out, like, just be a decent human being. Like, in all seriousness, like, you hear this a lot, but a lot of people don't, like, really put that in effort. Like, be a good human being. And I guarantee you, if you help other people, good things are gonna come. Like, we started out with Great Circle, and then the next thing you know, we got our first 2 clients. We started out with Freedom's Dress, and now, they're recommending us to Christian County, to Taney County, to all these people. Like, just be a good human being and be truthful, I'm a firm believer in the Bushido Code. I don't know if you've ever heard that. That's what the tattoo on my back is about. It's
Okay.
about the laws that samurais used to follow.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things is, having loyalty, honor, courage, integrity, benevolence, mercy. Have those things. And I guarantee you, man, good things are going to come. You just got to be patient.
Can't help it.
Yep.
Sir, thank you for your country, for serving your country. Thank you for your service, for your work ethic. I'm blown away, totally impressed. Amanda, you've got a great opportunity here to sit under this man and learn.
He's a really good mentor.
Yeah.
He's been teaching me a lot, just like the past couple of weeks, even just some of the cases I've gotten to sit on are really cool, and it's eye-opening, and I'm really grateful to learn a lot.
AvilesTranslations.com. Check it out. Our show brought to you by Priority Pest Control. It's 8 o'clock, time for ABC News. We'll be right back.